Well, this is fun. This is a fun sort of lecture theatre style setup. So we'll be educating you this afternoon on a couple of key issues. Later on, we'll be having a terrific panel on digital platforms. But before that, we're going to tackle the very interesting, in fact, endlessly fascinating subject, real-time marketing. And with me, I've got my two experts, Carlo Marchis, who's the Chief Product Officer of deltatre, and Sanjit Atwal from Squawka, the co-founder of Squawka, a web app that delivers real-time data and social chat to complement viewing of football matches. So they're going to tell you a little bit about what they do, and then we're going to get into the big topic really of real-time marketing. We talked about it a bit this morning, and perhaps the standout example of real-time marketing is Oreo at the Super Bowl in February 2013. A simple picture of an Oreo with the line, "You can still dunk in the dark," conceived by the brand's agency 360i, created, published and consumed all within minutes. And it's become the real standard bearer of this topic. So to give us an introduction, I'm going to hand over to Carlo, who's prepared a few slides for us. Over to you, Carlo.
Yes, I think also in conjunction with what Thomas from Adidas said today, which was a fantastic start, and I feel a bit intimidated that he should be on this stage. Maybe I think they learned so much. They should be studying business school maybe. So I think FIFA World Cup was amazing for everybody, for us, for the Germans a bit more. And we just put together, and it was even staggering in terms of how global and how huge it was on digital, social and everything. So we just put a 1-minute video together to tell the story. So what is real-time marketing? To be honest, in traditional marketing terms, it's more about creating dynamic content for personalized user experience. So engaging, it can be something that goes around the, today trends of social selling, social customer care. But I mean, after what David already said, this thing, it all started with a cookie in the dark. It's not true, it started before, but that's what everybody, Thomas, David, myself, and Sanjit remember. That was a case in which something that cannot be planned happened and created a huge buzz. Okay? So that's more about trying to understand things that happen in any context and content, and for us it could be a sport event, and trying to piggyback on that and create something that connects the content or the story in the context to the brand. Okay? They did it in a fantastic way, but there are some other great examples. Recently, I don't know if you noticed that the iPhone 6 Plus especially came out, and they had an issue with it banning it when we put it in our back pocket. So yeah, it's a small technology. To be honest, it's a small technology story. KitKat used this to create a great engagement for their brand because we don't ban, we brag. Okay, so there's nothing. So imagine something more, if you're on distance, than an iPhone and a KitKat bar. So obviously there is a lot of irony, a lot of humor, a lot of creativity around that. This one is one of my favorite, maybe I'm the only one in the room, but I found it really nice. I don't remember exactly which Napster it was, but basically this is English. I'll try to be better for you in the next one. Basically saying, I'm going to do some penalties, I mean, for more on our culture and tradition, go to visit. I think it's a fantastic piece of marketing, to be honest. And to be honest, Italians are not that good at penalties. So. This one was much better. Wimbledon, Andy Murray, 2013. Again, as you will see, there's always a real-time aspect, but I think as Thomas already said with Alias, there's a huge preparation behind. This was a bit prepared, I think. I'm not sure about the visiting thing. But it's also multi-channel, so don't just think social. Okay, this was a bit discussed, slightly low profile today, but basically it was a real-time marketing campaign, physical. So you have really to think multi-channel when you think about marketing in general and how you connect. Obviously, it depends a lot on your brand, who your brand is. I was at the conference last week here in London, and Fitch, the company that invented this black and white as an opposite to Brazil, was there explaining all the story behind the campaign. It was fascinating. And also in the same conference, Alistair Campbell was doing a keynote at the beginning in the morning and was saying it also depends on the brand. He was comparing and making people raise hands. If I say Rupert Murdoch, how many of you think that he has a good reputation? Okay? Yeah, just me. And if I say Richard Branson, maybe some hand will go up. No? So these brands may have different interaction and conversation with the audience. And the same is for sport people, I think. Obviously Suarez, you will use him carefully, I would say. Then, I don't want to talk a lot about that, but something that we are doing a lot with some of our clients, like UEFA, Champions League, is trying to connect the content, the story, to the brand. In this case, UEFA and the sponsors. Okay, but you need a lot of people that really understand editorially the content, and maybe you also need access to archives, which is a good and bad story. So to have archives is maybe tough, and to have all this intelligence that put together in terms of data and also stories. Something that happened in the past, it's something maybe that can be problematic, but it gives you back some value to all these huge archives that a lot of great holders have, and nobody normally knows what to do with it. So it's also an opportunity to repurpose a lot of content. Something that also worked a lot during World Cup was the Panini sticker thing, which the first time I used it in 2010, to be honest. I said, why should I want to do, I was doing sticker, I'm very old, I was doing sticker as a kid, and Panini is an Italian company. And we did it with them in 2010, we did it in 2014. 3 million people played, which is quite big, only on the website. And they swapped, they tried to finish, so that was a huge one also during World Cup. I want to say that real-time market is like jazz, okay? Because you need to prepare a lot to be able to improvise. Otherwise, it's just one act of luck and creativity. But I think, Thomas, sorry if I mention him again, but he really explained how they put it together, and also Rio had a team ready for that. Obviously, I don't think they organized the blackout, but I mean, they had a team ready with all, and then we were discussing after, you need to prepare a lot of the material in advance. You need to, so obviously, there was a 71-71 goal with 2 players. You know that one is 71 and the other is 70, so you're preparing the story, then whatever happens. And so it's crucial that you put a lot of preparation so you're able to improvise, just like in jazz. And for example, this is a bit old, but I found it amazing as a story. Gonzalo Higuain from Naples, Monday morning at 9, wakes up, and he was really pissed off because he didn't get a penalty the Sunday before, right? So he takes his own phone with I think, illegal whatever clips up, where is basically he has a screen grab from the phone telling, yeah, you saw it was penalty. It's in a funny Italian. They say it's not penalty. Look at that. I mean, this is genuine, authentic from a player. If I'm the jersey provider of the team, I may use it. That would be fantastic. See, if you use whatever, I don't remember, it can be a great story. On the other hand, real-time marketing is like skating on thin ice. There are a lot of stories. One just 2 days ago of a company using some racist thing in the story. It was funny, But if we say with friends it's okay, if you say it outside in public, it becomes embarrassing. So it's very easy to make a wrong move. There are so many lately because everybody is improvising real-time marketing. They don't understand how the connection between the brand and what you say is crucial. And then, for example, I don't know if you noticed yesterday this story of Bono cycling in Central Park. He has a very bad accident, seems like just an arm or something. He was on the late night show with Jimmy Fallon. He replaced him. So it's all fun, and I think in theory it's not funny. He's really in big trouble. He has a lot of bones broken in his face, so it's really sad. And I can imagine something like that. Sorry for the photo, I'm a bike helmet maker, and I'm very funny and say, it's a beautiful day, and you too song for the one not knowing that. If you wear your helmet, hashtag Bono bike accident. That's fantastic real-time marketing, but I will be fired, and maybe my brand will be in trouble. So, sorry for the horrible picture. Taken in, I think, New York. So, I think you need a deep understanding of the content. Otherwise, you know, yeah, I can put some stats, I can do some little activation, but if you don't have editorially the deep understanding of the content or the deep ability to curate the right content, you don't have to be the one creating the content. You can, you know, harvest. So you can curate a lot. But you also have to have, in the same team, which is acting prepared and live, a deep understanding of the brand. That's the real value, I think. So I think behind the buzzword, there is a big opportunity if you execute it well.
Sanjit, thank you, Carlo. That was a brilliant overview. What I'm going to do is talk to you a bit more about audience, their role in this, authenticity, and two different types of real-time marketing. There's the direct advertising side, where you're really trying to get a message across. Then there's the content marketing side as well. I'm going to show you examples of both. I'll show you numbers behind both. For those of you that don't know who we are, we're a football media business. What we do is we use data from Opta there, and what we do with that data is we use it to help educate fans, help them understand more about the game, not by showing them a table of data, but by visualizing data in real time. So 30 seconds after Wayne Rooney has a shot, we'll show you where on the pitch that shot came from. We're not rights holders in terms of showing the goals. We're using the data to explain the game. We wrap that around social media. We use it to inform our content. We do 120 articles a day on football. To give you an idea of scale, Squawka has been used over 70 million individual times this year, and we don't pay for any marketing. So there is a fan interest in this. What's really, really interesting is, from day one of this business, we launched June the 12th, 2012 for European Championships. Day one of this business has been about real-time marketing. Not only about real-time data coming through and helping educate fans about sport in real time, but in the way that we're activating campaigns. Now, my background is primarily in advertising. I'm not from sport. I'm from press advertising, then digital advertising for many years in the performance marketing space, where you only get paid on ROI, which is the hard end of digital advertising. So we knew that if we were going to build a platform, which is what Squawka is, it had to be super engaged, and we had to be able to deliver amazing campaigns, because that's where we believe advertising is going. The first campaign we ever ran was for Domino's Pizza, and this was where we knew we'd have a load of people on our platform following games in real time. So we dynamically changed all the Domino's ads 15 minutes into the game to say, hey, here's your halftime voucher code. Dave, if you order your pizza now, you have it at halftime. It was a very, very simple change, really. A little bit of creativity. We had pre-planned a load of different creative. Then we knew that fans, at 15 minutes into the game, maybe they'd start thinking about what's going to happen at halftime. Am I going to go put the kettle on, or what am I going to have some food? And by introducing the catalyst of a voucher code, it really helped fuel it. To give you an idea of performance, in the UK right now, the average click-through rate on a display advertisement online is probably about 0.025%. The click-through rates we were hitting was 2.5%. So drastically above industry average. And the two girls at Havas who were running the campaign for Domino's now both work at Squawka on our commercial team. So they must have seen something. I wanted to show you how it works on the content side. Now, we're very much multi-platform. We've got a team dedicated to producing content into Twitter, into Facebook, into Instagram. Usually, it follows our three key points of informative, fun, and engaging. Every bit of our content has to be one of those things. So the Suarez bite is like the most talked about thing here so far, I think. 6:38, this is a Suarez bite. Our team knew, from a real-time content point of view, that we work with Action Images, part of Reuters. we've got access to the whole platform. We knew that as soon as that had happened, at some point a picture was going to be uploaded that either proved or disproved that he bit someone. So we had a guy sitting there refreshing the Reuters database, bang, 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 every second, waiting for that bit of content, because we knew if we got that bit of content out first, that was going to be the best real-time content marketing we had. And actually, so that's 638, 656, have a look at the retweet numbers there. We were the first media outlet globally, BBC, Sky Sports, anyone, that got this picture out, because our team knew that picture was going to come through at some point. Refresh, 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 zoomed in, we got the bite out, and you can see the impact that it actually had. A load of brands jumped on this, and some of these have been mentioned already, especially the McDonald's Uruguay one. You can like them, you can not like them, but you can see from the engagement figures that it worked. It cut through the crowd, it cut through the noise. This is another bit of content. So using the Opta data we get free, we generate our touch maps. So, I don't know if you guys remember this game, Germany game where Neuer kept on coming out and clearing the ball outside. And again, our team knew that actually we were generating such amazing graphics here that this was going to fly if we get it out with the right headline at the right time. We got it out, you can see it did really, really well. I want to talk to you a bit about on the activation side from an advertising point of view, what we did for Continental during the World Cup. I've given this example of Domino's Pizza, and it's quite a clever way to engage with fans, quite a clever way to cut through the noise. Continental had another problem. You know, official World Cup sponsor, have been for a long time. They get a certain amount of assets to activate. 2010 World Cup in South Africa, they had the same level of sponsorship, same assets to activate, which is tickets to the final, 5 pairs. Last World Cup, they gave it to a media partner, I won't say who it was, said, right, get our brand closer to football fans. We'll give you all these tickets to give away to the cup final. Do what you can do. And it's a very famous story where the guy who won the final tickets was on the plane next to the Conti rep, and the guy said, oh, so you must be happy going to the World Cup final. I said, yeah, I'm so glad XX newspaper is sending me to the World Cup final. He said, no, we're sending you. We're Continental. Oh, you're the airline. No, we're Continental Tires. And so there's a whole big strand coming out of this of how, in real time, can we get Continental closer to football fans? So we built this campaign where, without getting too technical, we built a game mechanic where people had to guess how many passes, let's say, Xavi was going to make up until half-time. They had an hour before the game to enter the competition, and all the way up to half-time to give us their prediction. Now, we visualised all the passes in real time using the Opta data. We did this not only across our platform, across our Twitter platform, did it across Facebook, and we also pushed it into third-party display advertising that we're building. So we had a real-time marketing campaign where we're getting people to enter a competition to build their brand affinity with football fans to a greater level, which hit many, many different platforms, even platforms we don't own or operate. We pushed the technology there, delivering real-time updates and saying, hey, you've got 20 minutes left to enter the competition. It absolutely flew. I won't go through all this stuff, but we delivered 40 million impressions. This was a campaign that overall lasted about 8 hours of the entire World Cup. So it's a pretty big impact we made with this one campaign. We've got a load of stats, and I'm not going to go through all these, but I guess the deck's going to be sent around afterwards, so you guys can go through all the results and what we got. But the best part for us as a media owner and technology provider was actually looking at the results that they got from real fans. The fans tweeting back who won the tickets. We gave away 5 sets. And just seeing these kind of tweets and this kind of engagement coming back through. I mean, Conti loved it, the ad agency loved it. We were just absolutely delighted with the responses we were getting. And my favourite was actually in the bottom right-hand corner there, from someone that didn't win, but then started tweeting pictures of their Continental bike tyres, right? This is engagement. This is cutting through the noise. That campaign was a worldwide trend on the day of the first game of the World Cup. Think about how many brands are trying to get out there on World Cup hashtags. That was a worldwide trend. So there are a few fun examples of how to run it in content and from an activation point of view.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let's open this up to questions straight away. Has anybody got a point to make or a question to ask? I've got a few. But, yeah, just maybe tell us who you are. There may not be.
Okay, Jim O'Toole, London Irish Rugby Club. The best example I've seen of this in social media is the Paddy Power, the betting company, where they let loose young people with a totally irreverent sense of humour to just comment on stuff. Sometimes it's brilliant, sometimes it's a bit close to the wind. So I'm really interested in the danger side of it, from yeah, you know, we've played with it. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you just get it slightly wrong. So I'm really interested to hear about the risk side of it.
Sure, I mean, PayPal is a great example. I was sort of speaking a few weeks ago, and interesting to use the word danger because that is so part of their philosophy, it's so part of their brand ethos that it really, really fits. I mean, they're happy and they've marked out internally of how far can we push, like the Amazon campaign. Do you guys all see the Amazon rainforest campaign during the World Cup? Yeah. Saying that they'd cut down part of the Amazon, saying come on England, and everything's a total outroar everywhere in the press, and then a day later they released a picture saying, look, we haven't cut down the Amazon, it's just a ploy, basically. It did really, really well, but that fits in perfectly with their brand ethos and actually fits in perfectly with that industry and the need to acquire new customers. It's such a high impact thing, and people pay such big acquisition costs to get in new betting customers. You just need whatever you can do to stand out, and for them to really bank on danger is a great thing for them, but it can totally go wrong.
No, I think that again, it's how you resonate with the brand. Even if it's not real-time marketing, think about when you call a customer service, or you normally try to tweet now to customer services. The way that they respond to you, it defines the brand more than any campaign. So it's the same in real-time marketing. So if you're a brand that has risk as one of their identities in the story, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, maybe for FIFA, that's not right. They already find that way to me.
The question back.
Hi, Sanjit.
We do have mics now, but just make things a little easier.
Hi, Sanjit. I was just wondering where you guys kind of position yourselves along the spectrum of kind of real-time social platform versus more of a news source, right? Sort of written articles across the football industry, because I think it's really interesting to see the development of Sport Lobster and Sports Yapper and where they go there, and where you position yourselves and sort of in relation to them.
Sure. Well, the answer is quite simple. We're not billing ourselves as a social platform where people are going to come every single day to chat to each other. That's not what we do. We are most definitely a media business. It's more about understanding, and I don't want us to. A lot of people ask this question, and a lot of it's about pigeonholing. It's like, well, oh, are you this, are you that, are you platform, are you media? What are you? I don't necessarily believe that we as a business need to pigeonhole ourselves anywhere. We know that on any given day we'll have 300,000 unique users without having to pay for any of them. They're just coming. Some come to consume news and only news, and we know the section of audience love that. Some come for the data. Some come to play our fantasy games. Some come just for transfer stories. Some come just to compare players on our comparison matrix. It would be trite of us as a business to start saying, oh no, wait, let's not serve those guys. Let's just be a social platform or just be a news platform. We're actually all of it, and one of the trends that I think you see now with Facebook coming out and releasing their own news feed, they've got their own editorial team that's starting to crank up. This will happen more and more. This convergence of social platform and news is going to be a trend over the next 3 or 4 years. Does that answer your question? Not really real-time marketing question, but a good question.
Anybody else at this stage? Yeah.
Really following up, guys, from the discussion on Paddy Power and risk, what seems to me to be shared quite often, unless you've got an amazing proposition like Squawka had, is ripped content. Obviously, there's a lot of rights holders in this room. As someone who tries to work in that space, what's your attitude towards ripped content in this real-time sense? Does that make sense to you?
So, our clients are traditionally big federation, big broadcasters. So, UEFA, FIFA, IOC, or BBC, NBC. And obviously that's like a very topical question. I have to say, and starting, we work with sponsors in many different ways. The company originated in 1986 because Olivetti was sponsoring Formula 1, paying us to do the service. And we continue for years like that. I have to say that now it's a totally different position, especially after this FIFA World Cup, I would say. I think it was, you said that, or Tom said the word ambush, no? Before, ambush marketing was getting, with a lot of people, still people do it still now, and try to see that they don't sell the jersey outside of the stadium. I mean, obviously with social and digital, the concept of ambush marketing has been like expanded, but after this FIFA World Cup, where everything I saw was about football, somehow, I think it's almost a question also for brands. I wanted to ask before in the last panel, are you realizing that everybody in this room, about the role, and I don't think we have broadcasters today here, mostly.
We might have one or two, but
there's a lot of people that also are becoming media and content companies. Everybody I was speaking to, somehow, and I was speaking to a big German club, you can guess which one, and I told them, but you're becoming a media company, and say, yeah, exactly, you're right. So this fact of who has the rights for what is becoming more and more an issue. But to be honest, I think brands are trying to find a way, legally, not the illegal way, I agree that it has to be protected, and for video it's quite easy, to be honest. But like in the entertainment space Netflix is doing, brands are creating their own content. I think Andy Gibson was saying, we're creating our own content. So that may be the solution, but yeah, video is sold to broadcaster, and that for now, and we see as a contract for like 12 years or 18 years, so that stays. Everything else is created around it.
Can I just make a quick comment? I think what's been really interesting over the last year and a half, 2 years, is the new digital rights that Newsins have bought, Sun plus goals, and really coming out with a model of the quickest place you can see goals online is through our app, etc., etc. And that, unfortunately for them, that was like 2 months before Vine launched. And then everyone's like, well, why the bloody hell do I need to pay to get this app when I've got Vine free? I'm just going to record it off somebody else and post it here, and it's going to be everywhere. And it is a huge challenge. Obviously, speaking from a tech startup point of view, I don't see it as those kind of rights something that should have paywalls and barriers up. It should be embraced. And people like maybe the Premier League should try and, I know they're trying to understand more about how that can be harnessed to enhance the brand, and arguably, actually, it should be enhancing their sponsorship rights.
And to be honest, it's again the case of when, a business trying not to be disrupted. Sometimes the best thing to do is disrupt themselves. So if, like NBC is doing in certain cases, if you're the one putting, because in theory you should be the one that put the frictionless for every user has the choice, you're the fastest to put the goal or whatever the sport is online, available on every platform, you win. So see what happened in the music business. Major records, piracy, and someone comes and make it easy for everybody, piracy, oof, maybe this doesn't disappear, but...
But correct me if I'm wrong, looking specifically at Paddy Power, I believe they're building their marketing side of the business on ripped images. So is that a question of the brand has to take that risk, decide whether to take that risk, and then...
I think so. I mean, speaking from our own point of view, we license our images, so everything we put out is contracted with Reuters, so we never say we own these images. It always goes out, and actually once you have that kind of arrangement, it's very easy, and the access you get is incredible. But you can see, it's almost like that. I think one of the reasons why it's worked really well, reason why Paddy Power jumped on it, is actually it's this trend of micro-celebrity. Like somebody will have a Twitter account that suddenly gets like 20,000 followers by doing funny things, by getting legal content, putting a tagline on it, chucking it out, it goes everywhere, they're credited on Bleacher Report and stuff like this, and it works. It engages fans. And so why wouldn't Paddy Power, who's happy, it's in their brand ethos, let's fly close to the sun, let's get as close as we can. Of course they're gonna come and do that. And it works for them. It gets engagement. But again, you could argue it's broken up.
In general terms, do you think real-time marketing is something that every brand should be doing? Does it not work for some brands, or are you actually missing out if you're just not in this space at all?
No. Interestingly, when we started the business, I probably had a different answer to what we do now. I thought when we first started, yeah, there's a way for if you're creative enough, there's a way for any brand to get in, cut through the noise of a really intelligent, creative, fun campaign that gets engagement. That's not necessarily true. Not every brand can do this. We certainly tried it over the World Cup with some smaller brands as well, trying to shoehorn them into football campaigns. And in the end of the day, we looked back at it and went, oh God, that flopped horribly, let's not. And we actually turned away budget after that. They were like, had to be tweeted out, basically. But we had to turn away budget because it just wasn't working. You could see fans weren't engaging. However, it's not just about sport, I guess. Some brands can resonate with, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, or EastEnders, or whatever. I'm sure there is a way for most brands, but not always necessarily with sports.
Carlo, I don't know if you have a...
I have some, I don't know, but I haven't mentioned brands, so hopefully If I take the example of DHL for rugby, there is almost an immediate resonance, delivery, and they're delivering stuff, and it looks sometimes the same. And working with FIFA, mostly with UEFA, the statistics area of the digital experience was always sold to customer. In theory, there's again a fantastic resonance, performance. But I don't think that even during this, even using real-time marketing, this customer is too much connected to automotive. I don't think they get this connection performance to the performance. Like Nissan was trying today, was even a bit more, I don't know how they will end up, well for them. But it seems more, okay, the engineer of excitement, but the performance of a car, with the performance of an athlete, somehow in now many years, I don't think it never really worked. But again, I may be wrong.
If you're a brand and you're trying to activate a deal, deliver a message, do whatever you're trying to do through real-time marketing, this is obviously a reasonably recent phenomenon. And your background here, Sanjit, is particularly interesting, I suppose. I mean, are the type of people that a brand would employ or an agency would employ completely different? Are we looking at a completely different skill set from 10, 15 years ago?
I think at a base skill set level, I don't think it's different. I think the different is experience. Now, the people that we have running our real-time campaigns, they're not our sales commercial marketing team. It's our social media team. And the average age of our social media team is 23, okay, across the 5 of them. And these guys are just so bright, so sharp. They haven't got business degrees, haven't got marketing degrees, actually, any of them. But they know football, they know online, they know what fans want and what is going to resonate with fans. And that's the key. That is absolutely the key. Because if you don't understand the audience and you're not authentic, it doesn't matter. So the core skill sets of copywriting, creativity, they're the same, absolutely the same. But this mindset of understanding fans through social, particularly social, because that is where a majority of real-time marketing is super important.
I'm not pitching for a job at deltatre, Carlo, although open to offers.
Are you 23?
No, I'm not. But, and I don't know how to use the internet. So, who are the type of people that deltatre are employing, and is it different even from when you started?
Yeah, because I started in 1987, so yes, definitely yes. I think in this area, I possibly completely disagree with the first answer, but I agree with what you said, so maybe we're disconnected. I think it's a lot of, people are a lot different because again, it's about being a content media company. So we need, the people we use is a special team of, we call it editor, sorry for the name, editorial team at deltatre, and Steve Boulton is not here but is leading that. And that's people that work understanding football, in this case football, but can be athletic. We did it for cricket, we did it for the Paralympics and Olympics games. So we need people that understand the sport completely and work as a team. And one of the advantages we saw is putting these people together with the people that run basically the platform. We were, and the production people, we were able to do amazing things. For example, we noticed at the end of the Paralympics that the marathon was not really properly televised. So that 2 days before, we decided to get some people in the street with phones. So we were basically 2 days before, so that's kind of real time for such an event where we start 4 years before to plan things. We were able to create, if you want, a live coverage, just because we understood exactly how to make it happen, not only editorially, but also in the technology side of streaming video. So it's something that we can put together because it's a combination of editorial, technology, and if you want, creative around that. So we're looking for different people, yes.
Any more questions? Do stick a hand up at any point. We've got just a few minutes left, but one at the back room. The microphone, or he's just going to come across. Hand to you.
Hi guys, thanks, that's really interesting. Following on from what Thomas was saying this morning, obviously in this space, one of the biggest competitors is obviously fighting against the voice of friends, of those people you're trying to reach. And obviously a big prefix to what you say is being well prepared to actually deploy quickly and obviously deliver a message which is timely and relevant to something that's just happened. In the future, do you see that the crossover is going to be a lot more in terms of having to leverage these people as well as actually just planning purely on that? Because a good example may be a chap, I can't remember which game it was, but had Kurt Muller and Sanjit playing in it, and obviously did a visual combination of Muller-Rice corner, which is hilarious, and obviously that guy's then created a load of brand assets for Muller-Rice. Obviously the brand can't plan for that, but how would they leverage something like that in a very real-time way?
It's a really, really good point. I think when we talk about danger, that's where the biggest danger comes, actually, I think. It's not from you as a brand getting it out, it's you as a brand being seen to try to influence somebody else to get your content out. You know, it's that other A. You've got audience and you've got authenticity. And that authenticity is so super important. The example you gave is fantastic, and the serendipity around stuff like that is so hard to push, right? But I think if you're the kind of brand that is embracing that kind of philosophy, if you're seen to be doing creative campaigns like that, people will follow. People will start to imitate, and they'll be tweeting back going, "Well, I've done my own one now. I've done my own one now." That absolutely happens, and I think that's the best way. I think it's very, very dangerous to be seen to be influencing cohorts, I guess. It's tough. I'm not saying it can't be done, but dangerous. Golden chalice, don't get me wrong, it's absolutely where you need to get to. Yes, it's tough.
Do you have to build into anything like this, to any project along these lines, do you have to build in for the possibility that it will be considered offensive in perhaps a way you haven't foreseen, that it just isn't funny, that it doesn't quite fly? Because, of course, when you tweet something, at the moment it's retweeted, it's impossible to fully sort of delete and erase from history. Does that have to be built into the plan? Do you have to have almost an exit strategy?
I'll give a quick answer and then Carlo again. I think it's actually common sense. We've kind of seen, it's like if something's not working, we'll take it down. Even if we're getting paid for it, you can see that it doesn't work, doesn't fit with the audience. And I think you'd be very surprised at how quickly, particularly Twitter, you'd be surprised at how quickly people forget things. It's astounding. I've seen campaigns flop, and we had a management meeting, I was sitting there going, bloody hell, people have been talking about this for weeks. The social guys said, no, they're not. They're going to forget it by tomorrow. And they were right, no one mentioned it again, because the volume that is coming through Twitter, the amount of things that are coming through, is very, very different from releasing a terrible TV ad, and people going, oh, do you remember that TV ad? Remember how bad? When was the last time somebody said that about a social media campaign? It doesn't really happen that much. Sorry, Carlo.
I disagree. Okay. I don't like the balance where everybody as you said. No, really. I think, obviously, we work for maybe different clients, so we have always a risk management procedure in place. We got, especially now that we're kind of free managing the Web Champions League account in social, we agree in terms of policy, but then it's quite free in terms of what we say, how we put players together, etc. I think what is important is, if you want this again, how you need to empower people, as in social customer care. If people are not empowered, the content will be boring, right? But I think the culture that you kind of put the people in is crucial. I see a lot of cases in which a mistake is done, is because either they think first the brand and then the audience, or because they're not really understanding what they're doing in terms of content or brand. So I think the culture is number one, and then in case, shit happens, you need a risk management. Depending on the profile, you may need a risk management.
But obviously your client base is very much federations, and the value of the proposition is so high, I guess, that you have to have that kind of.
And I think one thing is funny how, I don't know if is Twitter in the room, I know Twitter was here before. They now have, it's almost commoditized. You go to their platform and they have basically a calendar of events on which your brand can activate. So the risk is that this becomes too commoditized, everybody's doing it, so it's not taking any traction anymore. So that's where the unicity of your brand, the authenticity of what you're saying, you need to, even if you're an automotive company, you need to create a voice that is unique, even if it's football, and in theory that's not even with cars.
We have time for one more question, and it will be from...
It was more a comment really. I don't think people should go away thinking they have to do something incredibly funny or disruptive or come up with right chosen image, or a way that you play with that image, or perhaps animate that
Time
image.
as well.
And
Time.
crucially, the thing is time and getting it out so that it connects to that moment. Sometimes we find we have massive success if all we think is what would that fan, what would the phrase be on the tip of that fan's tongue at that moment. You know, even if it's get in England, which it probably rarely would be, but if it was, something even like that can massively
totally agree.
charge an audience. Because they're not, sports fans aren't necessarily, you know, always looking for something poetically brilliant. Sometimes they just want to
totally agree. So actually, I'm a Liverpool fan for my sins, and it crumbled terribly last season. And one of the games that crumbled, it was the Crystal Palace game, where we were 3-0 up, and we ended up drawing 3-3. We sent out, I couldn't go anywhere near our social media account at that point, I was devastated. But our social media team just put out one word that had 800 retweets within 6 minutes. Just said, football.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Because it resonated with fans at the moment of just like, what a bonkers game this is.
Yeah.
I think two aspects I would consider is one, visual. We didn't say, but I mean, visual is what really grabbed the attention. There are the stats about when something is visual or just words can be, I mean, it's amazing, 180% more retweet and share. And second one, I think there is a difference in, one thing is what everybody remembers, the little stunt that goes, funny enough, on the normal media, on TV, then it becomes famous. It's still funny that we are in social digital, then something is famous where it's on TV or on the media. And the second one is when you consistently provide value. So we, kind of sorry for the word, educated two of our clients, FIS for ski and European Tour for golf, to switch from their old press officer, really, that was a press officer process. So one guy that would write something at 5 p.m. to have immediate photo shoot and comments from the ski slope or from the golf course. It changed it completely. One, the people are having fun. It's the first time they say, these people now are having fun. They go there, because the funny thing is some of the young people would do it for their friends. So we have this guy going to sort of sending photos, and then you go on the FIS site, and it's there after 2 hours. So now 10 seconds from any race, you see the podium of the ski race on Facebook, Twitter, etc.
Yeah. And linked to that, sorry, last thing. Another thing we face is clients always thinking that if it doesn't achieve massive retweets, then it wasn't successful. Right now, obviously, there is success in people wanting to share something, but it doesn't mean if all they do is look at it themselves, click on it to look at it themselves, that in its own right isn't worth doing. So just again, sort of this thing that if you don't share it, you didn't like it, isn't necessarily. You might push back on that.
Sorry, just to, we rapidly run out of time, I'm afraid, but maybe we'll continue the discussion online, but we will actually continue it
In real time.
in real time as well. Thanks. Thank you both. We're going to do a slightly inelegant microphone change now. But thank you to the two panelists. Just stay where you are because we've got our next panel.